I'm pretty excited about the integration of the Cardano side of things. So having all this natively to Cardano just make it a lot easier for users to interact with the DEX and interact with portfolios in the way and style that Blueshift have implemented with the virtual pairs, the single-sided liquidity provisioning, and then the cross-chain swaps out to different ecosystems. So people be able to swap Matic directly for ADA. And release it in their wallet, their ADA wallets, potentially in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that.
What is going on, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed, and as a part of today's interview, I'm joined by Igor, CTO from the Blueshift DEX, as well as Pete, content creator for the Blueshift team. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you both for joining me as a part of today's interview. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Not a problem.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you both. Well, good evening. I think you guys are in two completely different time zones. It's morning for me. But today we're going to be chatting about Blueshift. You guys have come on my radar and you guys have been making a lot of noise in the ecosystem as of late. And so we're just going to jump right on in and just get everything when it comes to Blueshift. We're going to kick things off with an introduction. Do you guys maybe mind just giving us a little bit of your background and what exactly it is that you guys do for the Blueshift team?
Yeah, so I am, as was said, CTO. So I'm responsible for all the technical part of the Blueshift development and also the design of our protocols and user interface. Personally, I have about 10 years of experience in several areas of software engineering. And about 5 years, I am mostly engaged in distributed ledger technology and blockchain technology development. Also, I have a university degree and I am working as a university professor.
Pete?
I think some people know me from around the Cardano space, but I've actually been working with the Blueshift team for about just over a year now. So I came on board thanks to contacts through Milcometer, and they put me forward to Blueshift. And I've been working with the team around doing all the content creation, everything on Twitter, writing blog articles, doing videos, and generally just engaging with the community and creating that extra level of engagement around everything that we do, trying to spread the word and educate everyone around what Blueshift is capable of and what they've been doing. So it's been quite a journey and it's been quite exciting.
Yeah, I think for me, I can relate to as a content creator. And what's been interesting for me is to see exactly how many different pots you have your hand in. And so I know you have a lot of work going on in and outside of Blueshift. And again, because I know the heavy lifting that comes with content creation alone, I'm really amazed as to how much you're able to contribute to this space. So thank you for what the both of you have done to the Cardano space. Now, let's just jump into what Blueshift is. Do one of you guys mind just giving us a brief overview of what Blueshift is and what a platform like Blueshift is aiming to bring to the blockchain space?
Let Igor take this one because he always does a brilliant explanation of it all.
Yeah, so Blueshift is a decentralized exchange protocol and also an asset management service that we have launched last year. Last spring, so it's about a year and a half operational in production mode. It is based on portfolio principle. So unlike Uniswap and many other DEXs, we do not store assets in pairs, but we put them in portfolios, which is more capital efficient because you do not need to create different pairs for one token if you need several swaps to different tokens, but you can put all these tokens to one portfolio without liquidity separation. Also, Blueshift portfolios have a lot of innovations built in. First to say, they do not use token amounts as prices, which is different to many other protocols such as Balancer, for example, because we store prices in special so-called internal price oracles. That's why Blueshift portfolios can be managed. We can manage the target weights of tokens in the portfolio, and these portfolios are brought to these target weights in a decentralized way, so they are rebalanced automatically. And also we have virtual pairs mechanism built in. So when people do swaps, they do not do them directly into the portfolios, but instead our protocol automatically takes liquidity from a portfolio, forms a virtual pair on the fly, and then performs swap in this virtual pair. After that, the liquidity is returned back to portfolio and the price change is stored in the internal price oracle. There are lots of consequences why we use this virtual pair mechanism. Mostly it's about better price, better exchange prices and lower price slippage. Also better protection against several types of attacks, such as flash loan attacks. Also, our portfolios have built-in security mechanisms that protect the whole portfolio from liquidity leakage if any of the tokens start losing its price. And of course, this virtual pairs mechanism allows us a lot of flexibility. So we can even use different automated market maker formula for different token pairs. And we also use this virtual pairs mechanism to implement our cross-chain protocol, which is one of our major innovations of the last several months.
Thank you for that introduction. The virtual pairs is something that is completely brand new to me. I still have to kind of wrap my head around how that works, but I do appreciate, the introduction as to how that works. That's going to take us into the next question. And this is actually going to be something that you just touched on there at the very end. You mentioned that you guys are going to be cross-chain. Why go cross-chain, and what networks do you guys currently support as a part of the Blueshift ecosystem?
It is completely cross-chain at the moment, and thanks to the Blues chain protocol, it allows the user to swap between those different chains that we're connected to. So first off, we're connected to Milcometer C1, Milcometer A1 for Algorand, the Carver blockchain, and also Polygon. And the aim is to also connect to all the other EVM L2 chains out there, so Optimism, for example, and all the other ones out there, as soon as possible. So as we start growing and building on each one of those chains and developing the index portfolios, which we are at the moment, we'll start to have more and more connections and build more liquidity on each one of those. So there's quite a lot happening in the background, and the Blues Chain protocol helps provide those swaps. It's a development that the team have been working on for quite a long time. It's built on top of the Cosmos SDK, and it allows for that all those swaps and mechanisms to happen. But Igor's really good at explaining that part of the mechanism.
Yeah, so Blues Chain is our own communication protocol between several blockchains, which acts as a layer 0 protocol for Blueshift cross-chain solution. It can connect any currently EVM-based chains to perform what we call bridgeless swaps between blockchains. By bridgeless, we mean that we do not use wrapped assets or any intermediate assets. So our protocol allows you to swap directly native tokens from different blockchains. Like, for example, currently we allow swapping ADA to Matic on Polygon without any intermediate assets being involved, which is more secure. And we actually see this as a future of cross-chain world, because wrapped assets is something that always is connected to some level of risk. So that's what we use. And this layer 0 solution on top of Cosmos SDK actually holds what we call cross-chain portfolios, which is an extension of Blueshift portfolios to the cross-chain world. And these cross-chain portfolios hold consistent views of token liquidity in portfolios across all the chains involved. And also they, what we call, aggregate liquidity from different chains. So we can even use liquidity from several blockchains of one major token, like for example USDT, in virtual pairs, as if all this liquidity was on one blockchain, which is a unique feature of our protocol as well.
Yeah, I think when we take a look at liquidity, especially in an ecosystem like Cardano right now, where we're still kind of growing, right? Being able to aggregate liquidity across multiple ecosystems is going to be huge to make sure that there's not a huge price impact when some bigger swaps are taking place on the actual AMM style protocol. So thank you both for touching on what networks the Blueshift protocol is supported on and exactly why those decisions were made. Now, I could assume, and this is a little bit of a side tangent here, that as you guys are developing, right, because you guys are interacting with different blockchains, do you guys have potential, or I guess different developers working on different ecosystems? How do you guys manage developing on so many networks or collaborating with so many networks all at once?
Yeah, so if you mean from the technical part,
Hmm.
of course, it is the question of our team, which is a very experienced team that has many talents inside of it. But also, what is good with all these ecosystems that we support, that currently we have standard EVM based interface to all these blockchains. And this is because we closely work with our partners Milkomeda, which is a layer 2 solution for Cardano, EVM based layer 2 solution for Cardano, and also an EVM based roll up for Algorand. So currently Blueshift works with EVM chains thanks to Milkomeda. But in our plans, and actually we are already working on this, is to also address native blockchains as well. So currently we are working on Cardano native interface, and other blockchains could be added later as well.
I'm pretty excited about the integration of the Cardano side of things. So it's, having all this natively to Cardano just make it a lot easier for users to interact with the DEX and interact with portfolios in the way and style that Blueshift have implemented with the virtual pairs, the single-sided liquidity provisioning, and then the cross-chain swaps out to different ecosystems. So people be able to swap Matic directly for ADA. And release it in their wallet, their ADA wallets, potentially in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then your other question of how do we actually work with all these protocols and different chains? I have to say it hasn't been easy. like we're primarily focused on Cardano, and that's where we all started. And to be able to branch off to all these different chains and then start building relationships with all the projects there, we first talk to the foundations and build a working relationship with them, and try and start and build campaigns through there. And they usually introduce us to a lot of the projects that we can start talking to. We did that with Algorand to try and form the Algorand index, and now with the Polygon ecosystem and talking to a lot of the top tier projects there. It all starts from foundation, working and having that working relationship with them, and then slowly working through every last single other project that we get introduced with, seeing if they're a good fit for the portfolios that we're trying to build, and then developing from there. It's been tough. It really has been tough because when you have that starting point from one ecosystem, you realize when you jump into another one, it is very, very siloed, and people haven't heard of you. They look at liquidity and go, sure, okay, sure, we'll give it a go. And it's just a matter of building those relationships and then building up the portfolios from there. So we're pretty excited about the Polygon index at the moment. We're making really good headway there, and a lot of Cardano projects that are bridging over to Polygon are looking forward to that one as well. So we're working with a lot of those Cardano projects that are expanding to different ecosystems too.
Yeah, I could only imagine how difficult it is to come into an ecosystem, without any reputation in that ecosystem and then try to get everybody on board. Now, one thing that you mentioned there earlier was the indexes, right, that you guys have basically put together for some of these different ecosystems. So, for example, with Cardano, you guys have an index, I believe, for Cardano, and you guys are currently working to set up additional indexes for some of these other ecosystems where you guys are currently supported. Do you guys mind touching on how you're able to identify some of the top projects to include in the index? And then number two, what are the benefits of investing in an index as opposed to investing in individual native tokens on said chain?
I can firstly touch on how we go through the process, because I've been working through this for the last year. We have a quantitative and qualitative process as we analyze each one of the projects. So it's looking into their engagement on social channels, how large their communities are, and then also looking at their tokenomics in general, like the vesting periods for their tokens, how many tokens are out in circulation, where they are in terms of development of their project, and how much liquidity TVL is locked across multiple different dexes and whatnot. So we've got a big list of things that we need to go through, and that usually makes the criteria for putting a project into one of the indexes. And based on where the project's at, we can either put them into a main portfolio index, which is an ecosystem one, like the Cardano index, for example, or we can start looking at branching them off into a smaller portfolio, such as what we're trying to do now with the Cardano startup index, which is for those smaller projects that don't have as much liquidity locked up in different dexes or whatever, or even in their own staking platforms. So we're working with those different projects so we can form those different types of portfolios, and that's across all the different ecosystems that we're working on.
I got one more follow-up if you don't mind, Pete. So it sounds like there's like a core index, which is focusing on some of like the biggest projects that you guys have vetted, right? And then you just mentioned the startup index, which is probably for some of the smaller ones that aren't as exposed or that aren't as known as some of those bigger ones. I guess what other indexes do you guys offer, or is it just those two, the core and then the startup?
So we've got the core one for each ecosystem. We're trying to build up the startup ones now. So we are looking for more projects that are interested in that. And then we also have a stablecoin ones as well. So as more stablecoins build out in the ecosystems, we'll have ones that are purely for those stablecoins, so you can swap in and out. So we've got one that's made up of Seller. So you got USDT, USDC. We got Mod, which is the JED version on Milcometer as well. And then as soon as like other ones in Cardano start launching, such as USDM, for example, then we can bridge that one over and have that part of the portfolio as well. And then like Igor was saying before, we can use a different swap algorithm on that. We can use a stablecoin one, which makes it a lot more capital efficient when swapping between those different ones. So it's a really good variety of different indexes that we have. And of course, we're looking at creating meme coin ones too, or even Pete's tokens of choice token index. So I think I'm just still in the process trying to persuade the teams to do all that for me, and then I can have my own. But we also have like community members that have suggested like a group of their own tokens, like other content creators that are in the Discord, and I've been talking to them to try and create their own indexes as well, and then users can pull that liquidity over and create those indexes.
That's really cool to hear. And for anybody who's watching that may be a potential project builder, how can they reach out to you guys? Or I guess what's the easiest way for them to potentially get listed and included as a part of the portfolio? Because I could imagine that if a team is listed within a portfolio, that then gives them a lot more exposure, within the community if anybody's using the Blueshift platform.
Yeah, and not just in like the Cardano community, because we are constantly going cross chain and trying to get the exposure. Each time we do engagements with other chains, we get them to have a look at what's available and all the different ecosystems. And for someone that's brand new, that's never even thought about Cardano, they will go, all right, well, I'll just put some liquidity into this Cardano startup thing and see how it goes. And that makes it really easy for them. And that's the beauty of those indexes. But yeah, if anyone wants to join, just reach out on our social channels, Discord, Telegram, whatever it is. So Zena is our marketing manager, is director, is mainly in the Telegram side of things. I'm mainly on the Discord side of things. Or check out the website. There's a contact form there. It's a little chat pop-up thing. Just reach out, and we're on all of the social channels. So just engage with us, and we can see how you can all fit.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. We're just going to keep things rolling right along because there's one key piece that I want to touch on that we haven't gotten to yet. But before we get into that, we have to talk about the utility token for the Blueshift protocol, which I believe is the Blues token. So I'll turn it back over to either you, Pete, or Igor to touch on what the Blues token is and what benefits it provides to not just the Cardano community, but the entire blockchain community that's integrated into Blueshift.
Yeah, I think I can start from the technical part. So Blues is the native token of our protocol that we launched together with the first version of our protocol on Comida. But Blues itself is a Cardano native token. So it is based on Cardano. And it has limited total supply. So over time, people can use the utility of this token, and the value of this token can be higher. Initially, there were several utilities for the token, but with the launch of Blues Chain and our cross-chain protocol, one of the utilities became the major one, which is Blues is currently acts as a gas token for Blues Chain, for our cross-chain solution. That means that for every cross-chain operation, our protocol takes a small fee, which we call cross-chain fee, which is nominated in Blues tokens. But people are not required to have the Blues tokens in upfront, so they should not buy them before doing any cross-chain operation. All this is performed automatically inside our cross-chain portfolios. That's why all cross-chain portfolios always contain at least small amount of Blues. And the more volumes we have on cross-chain protocol, the more buying transactions will be performed on Blues. And that is the main utility of Blues token, which will support its value over time.
Thank you. Pete, anything that you want to add about the Blues token?
Yeah, there was we did consider using it as a you need to lock in the amount of Blues tokens to become a validator on the cross-chain network, but that won't come down the pipeline for quite a while because we still got a lot of things to work out there. And of course, there's also the governance side of things as well. So it's a governance token where you can use that, not quite yet, but around the DAO and voting mechanisms through the ecosystem so that we can work out what direction we could do or various choices and proposals that we put together and get the community behind it. So we're just running that through Discord and doing polls and whatnot to get to community sentiment at the moment for things that we decide and choose.
Cool. I think governance is somewhat expected when you're speaking about utility tokens. So I'm happy to hear that that's coming down the pipes. And so the next thing I want to jump into, which is I think a pretty big announcement that you guys released about a couple of weeks ago, is going to be surrounding the wrapped smart contracts. I'll turn it over to either one of you. Do you guys mind explaining what wrapped smart contracts are and then what kind of benefits it provides with interoperability with the Cardano community?
Well, yes, wrapped smart contracts is a new technology that our partners, Milkomeda, launched several weeks before. And actually, it's a new step in sidechains and layer 2 solutions because with wrapped smart contracts, we achieve automation in steps that always bring a lot of troubles to especially starting users, because to start using layer 2 solutions, usually they have to bridge their tokens from the main blockchain, from the native blockchain to this sidechain. And this is what is automated with wrapped smart contracts. This technology allows users to interact with our protocol and actually any protocol that works on top of Milkomeda layer 2 using their layer 1 Cardano native wallets. They do not need to use any EVM wallets like MetaMask for this. And also they do not need explicitly bridge their assets from Cardano to Milkomeda. All this is done automatically as a whole operation that can be originated within this Cardano native wallet with just a couple of clicks. And after signing the operation in the Cardano wallet, all other operations are performed automatically. The assets are bridged automatically. The operation is invoked on Milkomeda, and the result of the operation is brought back to Cardano, to their Cardano wallet. With this, people are currently able to do swaps, both Cardano native tokens and even tokens that are not present on Cardano and only present on Milkomeda. They also can do liquidity providing to our portfolios, for example, to the Cardano index portfolio. All this using their native tokens, their native Cardano wallets. This is a great achievement actually in the integration of Milkomeda and Cardano, and a new step for Blueshift, because we are again confirming that we are Cardano centered, that we always bring utility and features for the Cardano community.
Thank you for that, Igor. And if I understand it correctly, this will allow for myself and the Cardano community the ability to sign layer 2 transactions using my layer 1 wallet or my Cardano wallet, right? Therefore, removing the need for me to manually, manage some sort of Ethereum based wallet when I'm looking to interact with a platform like the Blueshift Deck, which is huge. I remember watching Pete's videos, actually him and Cardano with Paul, their videos surrounding Milkomeda when that came around. And at the time, I was only focused on Cardano. And so, me having to jump out of Cardano, create a MetaMask wallet and manage that was really a change that I wasn't prepared for. So I think removing that need, at least now for myself, and probably for a lot of other members within Cardano, it simplifies and it lowers the barrier to entry to using a platform like the Blueshift Deck. So huge shout out to you guys for what you guys are doing here. Now, I have to ask, is this something that is only implemented right now with the Blueshift Decks, or are there other platforms on the Milkomeda sidechain that have also implemented Wrap Smart contracts?
I don't know of anyone else that's implemented it yet. I will have to check for you, so you can add to the show notes if there are. But I think Blueshift is the first and only one that's implemented Wrap Smart contracts at the moment.
That's
I
huge.
think
And
Milkomeda made something for their mod token, but of course in Blueshift it's much deeper integration.
yeah, that's a huge achievement. Again, congratulations to you guys. Lowering the barrier to entry and making this a lot easier to digest for somebody who may not have already messed around or jumped into, the cross-chain ecosystems and platforms. The next thing I want to jump into before we jump into the very last question is it's actually going to be geared, I believe, towards Pete. So now that you guys have the Wrap Smart contracts ready to go, I believe there's a campaign ongoing right now to get more eyes onto that. Pete, do you mind touching on what that campaign is all about and what is up for grabs with some of the rewards?
Yeah, so it's a campaign that we came up with alongside Milkometer, and they've provided 10,000 US dollars worth of Cardano index LP tokens. For liquidity that is provided to the Cardano index over the next couple of weeks, there's only about 2 weeks left now of the campaign. You'll be able to earn raffle tickets to win a part of that 10K USD prize pool. So for every $10 that you put into the index, you'll be able to get one raffle ticket. So the more liquidity you add in, the more raffle tickets you get. But we did it this way because we didn't want one whale coming in and then just taking up the whole pot and then potentially winning it all. This way is someone with just 10 US dollars worth of liquidity could come in and have that winning ticket and win from the prize pool. So we've divided that prize pool up into several divisions, and it starts from division 1, where it's like $1,000 US dollars, and one person win that, and then it's subsequently divided down through the different divisions. I have to check. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it's all in that blog post that you've pulled up on the screen there. So it just gives users that chance to win a little bit bigger compared to a large whale that could take the large pot of prizes. So that's running until the end of the month. I think it was the 28th was the last one. There is a requirement that you do need to have at least that $10 of liquidity that moves in, and you need to hold the LP of liquidity on the index for at least 2 weeks. So it won't be until about the 14th or the 15th of next month when we know who has held the liquidity for that duration of time, and then we'll draw the prizes at that point.
Thank you for that. And I really like the fact that you guys are allowing for anybody, regardless of their wallet size or the size of their bag, to get the opportunity to potentially win a piece of the pie. Again, for anybody who's interested in joining the campaign, I will leave the links to it down below as a part of today's video description. The very last thing I want to jump into is going to be surrounding what we can expect with future developments for the Blueshift DEX. So again, I'll turn it over to either of you, but do you guys mind touching on what we can expect and what you guys have planned for the Blueshift DEX and just the cross-chain communities that are involved with Blueshift?
Yeah, so of course, mainly our plans currently go around the cross-chain part. And one thing I have already announced is that we have started work on a Cardano native cross-chain solution that will enable Cardano users to swap directly to other blockchains without using wrap smart contracts. And currently they already can do this with wrap smart contracts. But we will not stop on this. We will work on expanding our presence on other ecosystems beyond the blockchain that we already mentioned. We are planning to address all Ethereum-based blockchains, layer 2 blockchains. And also what we are working now is bringing cross-chain protocol to our farming and staking parts of the product. And with this, we also will enable users to stake their Blues tokens not only for rewards, but also for participation in Blues chain validation or delegating their Blues tokens to Blues chain validators. And that will give additional revenues for Blues token holders. That is in our plans for the next month.
Wow, that's an ambitious plan for the next month. I heard staking, cross-chain farming, and then potentially bringing the Blueshift protocol over to Cardano as a Cardano native project. And I'm sure, as you guys both know, the Cardano community is quite big, right? So I think if you guys are able to do that, you guys will probably see a pretty big inflow of additional users coming into the protocol. Pete, any closing thoughts that you want to mention about Blueshift in general?
Yeah, I think bringing the DEX solution, the portfolio-based DEX solution with cross chains to Cardano natively is the biggest thing. So when that happens, we should see a lot more users come in and use the protocol natively, which will be really, really exciting. But yeah, over the next few months, we'll still be building out the various portfolios on the different ecosystems. So we're just chugging through that and working with all the projects. It does take a lot of time, and it's where the project's at the moment that we are trying to bring in, and they might be still launching their token. So there's so much to it that we have to work through to get the projects on board. So it's a labor of love, I think, to get through all that. But yeah, we're looking forward to all this stuff coming up in the future, and a lot more developments coming soon.
I'm excited for what you guys are doing. And it seems like the cross-chain narrative just continues to grow, right? We're getting more projects that are going cross-chain, even some that were initially Cardano native. And that was one thing that really kind of piqued my interest there is you guys mentioned that the Blues token is a Cardano native token. So that's new information for myself. I thought maybe it was an ERC20 token, but it seems like you guys have had your eyes on Cardano, and it's now going to be showing with some of these changes that will be coming down the pipes here very soon. I did ask this earlier about how projects can get in touch with you, but how can just regular community members become a part of the Blueshift community?
Join us in Discord, join us on Telegram, follow us on Twitter, blueshift.fi, no, blueshiftfi on Twitter. And there's always email communication. Just jump on the website, blueshift.fi, and get the details from there.
All right. Igor, any last closing thoughts before we shut this down?
No, just invite users to test our protocol, our portfolios, see our analytics application as well to see the stats and the charts regarding our protocol.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Igor, CTO, and Pete, content creator for the Blueshift X, which is going to be a bridgeless cross-chain swapping platform, including Cardano and a few other networks on the ERC20 side of things. That's going to bring us to the end here. I want to thank you both, gentlemen, for joining me here. I know that, due to some of the time differences, we're all contributing to this interview at completely different times. I wanted to, again, thank you both for jumping on here. But that's going to do it here. Again, if you guys found this particular video to be helpful, I would appreciate you guys if you guys could tap that like button. If it's your guys' first time stopping by the channel, I would ask that you guys consider subscribing. Also, check out Pete's channel. He is a content creator covering everything that I actually cover here on my channel as well. And then last but not least, if you guys have any questions for Pete or Igor, then make sure to leave those down in the comment section below. That said, we'll catch you guys in the next video.